How is everybody doing today? My name is Master Zero and welcome back to another reaction video. This time we're reacting to the Epic of Serina Returns by Curious Archives. Alright, so this one's a very exciting one, and one that I've anticipated for so long, man. I've honestly started to think that it wasn't gonna happen, you know, like that's how long of a break it's been, but like, it's finally returned, and I apologize for like, I think it's a month now, it's been returning, it's like, continuous return. I'm tardy to the party is what I'm trying to say, but like, that, no change there, man. I'm always like, tardy to the party when it comes to reacting to stuff, but now that we're here, man, I'm just really excited to go back to like my favorite birds, man. There's just something so like magical about this, you know. And like, as far as I know, like, I'm pretty sure like it's all based in fiction, you know, like this one like writer like decided to make a planet entirely out of birds, and it's so beautiful, man. Like, I never thought I'd actually, like, I'm pretty sure in the last one, it's been a long time, man, but like, I'm pretty sure in the last one, like, it made me tear up, man, like these fictional freaking birds, you know, like, so like, I don't know, it's just really exciting to come back is what I'm trying to say. And like, all in all, man, it's just really exciting stuff, because like, one, Curious Archives, this channel, you know, is amazing, even though I don't react to them as much as I really want to, but their videos are like more on the long side, and I react at night now, so you know, I kind of react whenever I finally get to do stuff, but it's a very minimal time crunch, you know. So luckily I am going to react to this one, so enough yapping from me. Without any further ado, here is the Epic of Serina Returns.
An aurora shimmers in the night sky.
Oh man, take me back.
A startling, seemingly alien realm becomes illuminated.
It's beautiful.
This is the
completely
world of Serina,
different from what it started out, by the way.
These are not aliens,
that's life, though,
but the descendants of birds and fish. We've been following
Can't forget the
this
fish.
saga
I always
for
do,
several videos.
I mean, you say birds
over
way
the
more.
past 280 million years, an
Delightful.
initial group of finches and other creatures left on a distant moon
I love
have
all of
evolved
them.
into
There was
a
one in
dizzying
particular
variety of
species
forms.
that I loved
When
more than all of them.
When we last checked in, this world had been flung into cataclysm, and the
Yeah, it has. I thought it was honestly the end.
Transported away to
Apparently
another
not.
realm. Now,
But that means the end is
Serina
coming.
is beginning to recover from the loss of its top species. Although the greatest dangers and most extraordinary life forms
If
still
you say
lie
it's yet to
ahead.
come on, man.
So let's
They've already been
return to
through
this
enough.
world of birds, and remember to support creator Dylan Beta on Patreon
100%,
using the links
man.
below.
Give credit where credit is due.
Our journey begins with the rising sun. Here in the northern Soglands, the morning rays illuminate.
That's like one of those
a varied
Christian
tapestry of
paintings I've
life.
seen all the time.
Thorn
Like Noah's
grazers
Ark or
feed
something.
upon the sodden plant matter and unleash their bellowing
Beautiful.
calls.
Everybody
A
uses each other.
predatory drake vulture scours for
I mean,
prey
that's an
from
ecosystem.
above. The towering watchtower wumpos loom over the entire scene. These species represent some of the lineages that will come to prominence in
Yeah,
this
so you look
new
familiar. You
era.
look like the squonky dodo bird
We're
looking guy.
now in the hothouse age,
Oh.
and the lands of Serina have
You know what I
become
mean?
splintered by
Green
the highest
or
ever sea
whatever it's
level.
called, greenhouse
The
or
volcanism is on the
volcano. I was
decline,
getting
and
there.
The end of this world looms ever closer. An
Oh, don't say that.
atmosphere heavy in carbon dioxide.
You keep dangling
means
the end,
Serina
like, in
has
front of my
never been
face,
so
man.
warm or so conducive to radical experimentation.
What you doing,
On
buddy?
the inland
Probably food?
floodplains, a monstrous descendant of the burrowing Bertle attempts to bring down a smaller hog lump, while a
You telling
foxtrotter
me,
watches
like,
from
obviously
the
I'm not good with
branches.
names, but
All three
wasn't that the
species have
Burrow
had to
guys, right? The ones that
radically change
dug?
their behavior in a short
You don't
period
say.
to survive. On the ever-shifting coast, adaptability
All of them
is
look
even
so
more
familiar to me,
essential.
but like I can't
This
grasp.
tentacled shore scrounger
Obviously from the
and
Epic
their
of Serina.
chicks are just humble scavengers at present, but there's no telling what the future
Even that weird little
will bring.
armadillo guy.
From the water emerges a sandlubber.
Yeah,
a
I was just
kind
talking
of
about you.
semi-terrestrial snail. To the shore scroungers,
Okay.
it looks like
You say sail, I
breakfast.
say armadillo. Oh,
In the open sea,
well now he's food.
other snail descendants are enjoying a
Oh, let's
buffet
go,
of their
man.
own. The snaggletooth
Oh, what's that book?
have become huge
Rainbow
apex
fish or something?
predators,
Rainbow
and
trout,
their
something like that?
preferred prey, the
That's what this
escardines,
art
are
style
also
reminds
a
me
type
of.
marine snail.
Talk about
The
taking me
seas
back, man.
belong to the invertebrates now,
Oh.
and as the eons
Stingray-looking
pass,
guys?
the
I'm down with
gastropod's
that.
grip upon the marine ecosystem will only tighten as larger and larger species
That's what's
arise
crazy. Like
in
some
the
species
post-Ice
stayed in the
Age
water,
waters.
some species
Some,
left
like the
and stuff like
spike
that. You know,
rays,
it's
will
beautiful.
proliferate under the murky surface of freshwater rivers in astonishingly high numbers, their
Parry the
body plans
platypus.
converging upon that of modern ray species.
I was right.
Another dawn
Stingrays? Well,
comes
ray,
to
but
this brave new world.
it might be sugar ray.
On the northern coast of Serra Nostra, the body of a titanic shimmer shiner, currently the largest marine snail
You hate to
species,
see it.
washes up on the
Guess
sands. All manner of
everybody gets
carnivores
food,
quickly
right?
descend upon
Doesn't
this
go to
rare
waste.
feast. There's no time to take turns.
Yeah,
Eventually,
like you
night
said, a very
falls,
rare
and
feast.
a very peculiar
Oh!
creature emerges to
How do you
assess
do,
what
dinosaur-looking
remains of
guy?
the carcass. It's a night creeper, another
dinosaur?
burrowing
Not
bird
dinosaur.
descendant that's strictly nocturnal. The early bird
I love
might
the
get the
nocturnal
biggest
guys.
portion, but the night creeper has carved out a niche for itself.
with a name like
snatching
that,
up midnight
Talk to Raphael from Ninja
leftovers.
Turtles.
Of course, not everyone
Dia.
has to stress about sticking to the shadows. The omnivorous
How can you stick to the
scopoid
shadows when you're that big?
descendants of the otter-like
from my point of view, you're big.
birds have arrived upon a rather imposing body plan. The future of this lineage will be very bright indeed.
Oh.
More familiar
like, yeah, they're not
dynasties
going anywhere for a
flourish
while.
in one of the last relatively dry biomes.
I love
on
also with
Serra,
Curious
the
Archive narrator, man.
uplands.
Drops
Here,
little, like, hints and,
members
like,
of the
hopefully
battering helmet-head
in the future he's
thorn
gonna
grazer
address it.
species clash over territory close to a
That
herd
happens.
of jumpo wumpos.
Jumbo
a relative
wumpos.
of the watchtower wumpos.
You
They're
love to
far
say
from
it.
the strangest
I
trunked bird
wumbo.
species in this era. In the southern jungles,
Hello?
for example,
Thought you were
the
a butterfly
speedy
for a second.
lumpalopes race through
Very
the
top,
underbrush,
looks like a
their
butterfly.
facial flanges displaying bright
I was just talking about
colors
that as
to
well.
attract mates.
Me and the
In the
narrator are
polar
on point.
basin, the peculiar shuck lumps have turned their trunks into a means of prying open
Interesting.
shellfish for an
You
easy
do not look
meal.
familiar.
The shuck lumps appear non-threatening, but the lash-lipped
Oh.
carnacles, an emergent carnivorous
What's that one
trunk bird,
Pokemon with, like, the
appear
hair
anything
is, like,
but.
teeth?
And in this case, appearances aren't deceiving. The
Okay, so
lash lips
you are evil.
ruthlessly
I was gonna say,
effective
don't judge a book
hunters.
by its cover.
The hothouse age can be ruthless, but it can also be a stage
gonna say, these guys
for
look chill.
unexpectedly touching moments. Here, a mother blowblump, the most rotund of the
I'm not
trunk
gonna laugh.
birds, has taken
I
in a rather confused foxtrotter, who has gained the scent of her young after spending time in their vicinity.
Aw.
Though its roaming instincts will eventually cause this foxtrotter to wander on, it is nice to
Aw.
be part of a family.
That's cool.
if
That's
just for a day.
heartwarming.
Not long ago, Serena
Okay.
was a haven.
Oh my
for
God,
this
those
sort of
guys!
cross-species
That was like the coolest
cooperation,
species,
but
like,
the most
coexistent
intelligent and
/ war
altruistic
ever.
Species have all since
Yeah!
vanished, displaced to another world, or rendered
Oh,
extinct by
man,
the
these, like,
calamity
bursts of,
that
like,
capped off
memories.
the previous era. Though deeply tragic, this loss has left behind an intriguing intelligence vacuum.
Oh.
Back on the coast, the shore
Wait, vacuum means
scroungers have
empty,
begun
doesn't
to
it?
diversify,
Or suck up,
with
I guess.
some new offshoots becoming increasingly social. It's a development to keep an eye on.
Huh.
As the hothouse age wears on, new
That's
forest
bad.
ecosystems
I was, like,
offer
panning and then
new ways of
blood.
life. Here, a gravedigger subspecies sinks its teeth
Catchy
into
name.
a hapless thorn grazer.
Yeah, what's up with, like,
You
the
wouldn't
metal
know it
names,
by
you know? Like, all the
glancing at
predators have, like,
predator,
really
but
metal.
its distant relatives, the thalassic
Heyo.
gravediggers,
Let's
were once
go,
the most
man.
intelligent
I remember y'all.
species on
Oh, what do you
Serena.
mean used to?
Elsewhere in the forest,
They still got
however,
Tool, I
a
think.
different subspecies is following
like a
more
penguin?
closely in the thalassic gravedigger's footsteps. This
Interesting.
is a spirepire, a primitive tool user who
Spirepire?
feeds on honey ants.
I was
They're
right about
a
the tool.
reasonably brainy bird, although
Okay,
not half
so you
as
still got your-
clever as their thalassic
Aw. I
relatives.
was gonna say, you still got your brains. You got
Another
half your
species with a
brain.
remarkable ancestry
I love you.
is the screehawk.
A long-necked
These long-necked
dinosaur for
herbivores
obvious
are
reason.
members of the
Okay.
giraffe owl, an emerging clade that, like earth giraffes,
Hey.
browse on vegetation that most grazers simply can't reach. But where
my
did
type of
such
dinosaur
an unusual
animal,
clade
just
emerge from?
eating grass.
They're actually the
Hello.
distant descendants of the seraphs,
No.
who once reigned supreme
I
in
remember
Seraph
y'all.
skies.
Y'all guys are
One
beautiful.
small surviving lineage, the fallen
They're all beautiful in
angels,
their own way,
found a
man.
niche
Let's be real here.
scavenging on the ground,
the artwork alone.
becoming increasingly well adapted for terrestrial locomotion. From
Okay.
this initial giraffe
that
owl
sentence, by
body
the way.
plan, a wide variety of unusual offshoots have emerged. And over
So you
the
don't look
next
that
several
weird.
million years,
You got
this
them
group
long
will
legs.
only become stranger.
They're getting more like
But
reptilian,
for now,
like
the giraffe
dinosaur-y,
owl have
you know?
competition in the hothouse forests from
And
the
that's just
spiral siren
Tigger from
horns,
Winnie the Pooh,
a
I
type
think.
of thorn grazer with an elaborate
Spiral.
nasal structure that produces eerie musical calls.
Is that what I'm hearing
These
now? Because
pack
no thank you.
animals have reached
Imagine hearing that at
impressive
night, man.
sizes, converging on a niche similar to
Oh.
modern bison. Yet
I was
both
very
the
close to one of
siren
those.
horns and
They
the
are
giraffe
terrifying.
fowl need to keep an eye
But they feel
on a
cool.
new upstart. Saw gobblers are huge,
Saw
aggressive
gobblers?
creatures related to the
Again with the
scoblins
really cool
that
names.
seem poised to follow in the titanic footsteps of Earth's sauropods. And while the saw gobblers are herbivores,
I'm not gonna act like I know
the
who that is.
related skogers
I say
have a
who,
taste
like
for
they're
meat
people
as
or
well as
something, but
veggies.
species, like different
At 3.5
species.
meters, or 12
Ayo.
feet tall, the only thing more formidable
Pretty
than
big
their
boy.
monstrous size is their monstrous appetite. A group of Skoger can strip a small island of vegetation in just a few
vegetation,
weeks
okay.
before crossing the water
this is
to
gonna
do
be a
the same
slaughter?
to another landmass.
Huh.
One might assume that
least
nothing could rival
vegetation
their
grows, right?
destructive power. But in the southern bogs,
there's the
an
bud.
even more ravenous force is
Those guys
waiting.
are so
This
trippy looking,
trunked
man.
bird is about to fall prey to the insatiable
Oh,
bog
I thought they were gonna be
shoggoth,
the predator.
a superorganism made up of thousands of cooperating ants. Bog shoggoths are the
Let's
ultimate
go!
scavengers, though slightly less aggressive than their Ice Age ancestors,
Dude!
the sea shoggoths.
Yes, please,
The fact
more of
that such a
this!
deadly
Like
lineage has
nanobots, but actual
endured into the
ants.
hothouse era could spell trouble for the age to come. It's a good time to
Everything
be up
cool
in the branches.
just doesn't last
the
that long.
forest canopy is now home to not
I want
just
that
bird
landing on my face.
descendants,
No, thank you.
but snail descendants as
I
well.
had a moth do
The
that. It was like bigger
peculiar
than my
tree
head.
gups are
Probably the
derived
same
from marine
experience.
snails that became amphibious during the
Oh, they're
start of the
snails, so it'd
hothouse,
be way
and
more
are
slimy.
now well
Got
adapted
it.
for a wooded environment. Once,
Oh my
the
God!
woods of Serina were tended to by the antliers.
What do these guys look like
One
now?
of the first intelligent
Ooh.
tool users
I
who
remember you.
tragically faded
You
from
had a
history
kick-ass
long
story as
ago.
well, man.
Though their allies, the gravediggers, preserved their memory for a
Aw.
time, the gravediggers have now
God, that
also
seemed like such a
disappeared
long
from
time
Serina's
ago.
surface. But while these antliers are long extinct, one
Oh.
lone relative, the survivors, have endured into
Survivors,
the
I
middle
love that.
hothouse. And as a changing climate turns marshland to savanna, the antliers have an incredible opportunity to adapt.
Let's go, come on.
We
Is there
now
hope?
return
You
to
literally
the
like made
image
my
of
hair
the
stand up, man.
Aurora-lit
I love
swampland.
those guys.
This scene takes place in Serina's
forgot how much I
warm
loved it.
southern pole, where for several months the
Let's
sun does
go.
not rise. And in the
Months?
darkness, evolution
Forget
has
28 days
sired
later.
creatures never before
28 days a
seen.
night, whatever it's called.
Shimmering bioluminescence, a rare sight in terrestrial organisms,
That's
lights up
terrifying.
sections of the polar forest.
It gets
On
worse.
the forest floor, a digdag, another burrowing
Digdag.
birdle descendant,
Yo, diggy dag.
scrounges for a meal. Close to this badger-sized life form is a fan club of smaller flyers.
I feel like he's just like,
who are
"Oh,"
hopeful
like a
the
chihuahua or
digdag
something the
will
entire time.
uncover something they can steal. But all smaller life forms need to tread carefully, for the uncanny spook hides in the
Where
shroud
are
of
you?
night.
Here.
A member of the
literally like
bat-like
Batman.
lineage of Tribats, the spook's large ears form a dish-like structure that
That's
allows
pretty
them to
cool.
hone in on the
And I have to
slightest
say, like,
sound.
creative as well, man.
Yet
This is all
spooks are
essentially
not the
made by a
canniest
person.
hunters in the long dark swamp. Something very special has emerged in this
Yeah, I know I see
darkness,
this a lot,
a
but
new
like,
tool
imagine seeing that
user.
at night, man.
Squab goblins
That's
are
terrifying.
relatives of the shore
And they have tools.
scroungers that have put their tentacles to work crafting rudimentary spears. This
They're
combined
taking down
with their
people like
ability
twice
to
their
hunt in
size, man,
packs,
if
have
not
made
more.
These tiny terrors formidable indeed. Though the
Oh,
squab
man. You
goblins
hate to see it,
currently
but
lack the true
it's
spark
survival of the fittest, I
sapience,
guess.
there is enough kindling
this case,
here
smartest.
to one day, hopefully, reignite the lost fire of advanced intelligence.
Hopefully,
And
man.
observing the squab
You are a
goblins is
really cool
another
bird.
bright-eyed bird
Like a
species.
cat bird.
Bogglebirds are clever
Bogglebird.
omnivores
I love
who
that.
have learned to act as
You say that
watchdogs for
with,
the
like,
squab
every
goblins
species. Like, I
in
love that
exchange
name.
for food. Perhaps they too will carry the torch of intelligence onwards.
I hope so, man.
For
I want
now,
to see like
day
them
is
tools and
breaking
like
at
people
last
partnering
after
up
many
and stuff like
months of
that.
darkness. And with the light come the dawn walkers, large bipedal herbivores that hibernate during the winter.
Never
only
would've thought-
to
so they're like bears in a
reawaken when
way.
The sun and the greenery
Except they
returns.
stay.
And they aren't the only giants who
Hi?
return with the sun. Huge giraffe owl
Anybody
called
else seeing that?
crown-crested skybreakers descend upon the forest, coming home
God, so
following
creative,
the long
man. I
migration
can't
north
get over
for
the
duration of the
designs.
winter. During the height
And the
of
names, like
summer,
everything,
the southern
man.
swamp becomes almost unrecognizable as biodiversity increases.
Like you said, it's
One
turning into a
rather
savanna, right?
unassuming species, the aquatic river carver,
Let's
acts
go.
as steward of
Penguin
this
dudes.
biodiversity. Like earth beavers,
Or
river
otters, okay.
crawlers are ecosystem
Not good at
engineers,
naming the animals that
damming
they're
and
based off
shifting
of.
the flow of fresh water to create an optimal environment in
Let's
which
go.
to raise their young.
So it is like a beaver,
Parents
okay.
do what they can, for it's
Fair.
a dangerous world out there.
You don't say.
Some of the largest birds
And
ever
then cut
seen
to
on
that.
Serina now prowl the northern continent.
just driving that point across.
Descendants of the saw gobblers, the cygnosaurs might technically be herbivores, but they're hardly strict vegetarians.
Got it.
These aggressive
I was
creatures
wondering.
will happily
You
supplement
know, the
their
dead
diet
body
with
he was
small
eating.
animal life should the need arise, including chicks of their own species. Though this tree
Why?
will keep these hatchlings
I know a lot of
safe,
animals do
with
that,
the
but-
rise of cygnosaurs, survival on Serina
feel like
is
there's
now
enough
far
plants.
more challenging. It's a good time to have allies. The superb
Please,
squaboon
come
are
on.
relatives of the long dark squab goblins that have learned to cooperate in packs and craft simple
cooperate.
tools.
That is my
And
favorite.
they're not the only crafty tentacle bird on the block. The unusual boomer squaboon also operates in clans.
You know what, man?
And have learned
You
to
do
build
you. I
traps
love
to catch
everything
fish,
about you.
although the primary function
catch
of
those
their
fish.
strange tentacles is to amplify their mating call like a megaphone. Next to these species,
Aw, I wanna hear
the
that.
blood-breasted
For
squaboon
scientific
doesn't
reasons.
seem to have much going for it beyond an unusual hue.
bad
Yet
one.
out of all the squaboons, they're the ones with the grandest destiny. For
Why?
now, the end of the hothouse
Oh, I love
is
that.
looming
Planting
ever
that seed,
closer.
man.
Yet
It's like,
before
we'll
this
find
era
out later.
comes to a close, a final spectacular
Already?
environment
No.
will emerge.
Maybe this
We're
era.
now
Hopefully not the video.
290 million years into the Serina experiment, and
Ah,
though tectonic shifts
very
have slowed
interesting.
to a crawl, new
you put it that way,
mountains
time
rise
flies.
against the distant sky. These sky islands
Dragon
are
Ball Z map.
actually vast terrestrial reefs formed from layers of spire trees, and they serve as a stage
So,
for remarkable new
It's just
evolutionary
trees on top
dramas.
of trees?
Gliding between the cliffs
I
is a superb
know.
sky serpent.
I don't
a
want
type
anything
of
about that.
luminous Skurok. These hunters can soar for short distances by catching air underneath their parachute.
I mean, it's pretty cool, but imagine that
much
thing,
like the
again,
Draco
imagine that
lizards
thing
here
landing
Earth.
on you.
Other snake-like predators have a different tactic for getting
Why?
the drop on prey. Cliff strike worms
And that
lurk
is
in the
terrifying as
crevices
well.
Of the
I feel like they're
sky
one-upping
islands,
each other.
lashing out with their curved mandibles to ensnare anything unlucky enough to be caught unaware. But
Nah.
the crags of Sky
I just won't.
Islands don't just hide predators. They
You're
also
a wacky
conceal
little guy.
prey. Here, an herbivorous
Never mind, you're about to be
Starry
lunch.
takes shelter from the long posterior limb of a sky heel. A bite from the starry bar's beak might be enough to dissuade the sky heel from digging deeper into its domain. Although in the
Uh-huh.
game of life,
So I'll
these
give you a little,
two species are
I don't
well
care.
matched. The Sky Islands
They'll
are
just butt
just
heads for a
one
while.
of the many new fields of competition in the late hothouse. In the Arctic,
So as it pans
a
up, there's, like,
northern
new species, you
equivalent
know?
to the long dark swamp has emerged in the form of the night forest. This massive vertical
Again with the
ecosystem
naming,
is home
man.
to trees so tall that the branches feel like an entirely separate world from the forest floor. Over 100 meters,
Hi.
or 300
Just chilling on that branch, huh?
Off
That
the
branch is
ground,
yours.
A red rasp rests in the branches. Though their
See, it's
hooked
like
tongue appears
almost normal
fearsome,
bird, and then you have
the
that
rasp
weird-ass
primarily
beak
feeds
tentacle
on
thing.
insect larvae that they dig from the bark of trees.
Right on.
A world away on
Hi?
the forest floor,
You're like
the
from-
baffling
actually from the
Prismuffalo
Avatar movie.
also enjoys the occasional insect snack. A descendant of the battering helmet heads, Prismuffalo
Yeah, I
sport
could've put that
highly
together.
unusual head crests, both to impress mates and scare off rivals.
Uh-huh.
At the very edge of the night forest, a tiny equine-like relative of the
Practical
Prismuffalo,
and
the
functional.
equinox, is about to be preyed upon by the ruffled
Equinox.
rasp, a relative of the red rasp. It's a tricky task for such a small predator, but these unusual times call for risky behavior.
Okay, so it seems like
For the
a
late
lot of people are
hothouse
just trying to
is an
find food right
era
now.
of uncertainty. In the oceans, life is increasingly pushed to the coast as the global climate wreaks havoc on deep water environments. The result is a shallow water ecosystem of extreme competition and extreme life forms. One of
Yeah,
the most
they're all just trying
unusual are the
get away from the
wandering
heat, I
Wellicans.
guess.
New arrivals
All, like,
on the aquatic
shambled
scene
onto the-
that,
like you said, you
despite
know?
appearances,
Shallow.
are actually the descendants of tentacled shore scroungers that took to the sea.
I'm
Like
sorry?
earth whales, Wellicans have evolved to filter feed and have radiated out into a number of unusual forms,
Okay.
including the striker Wellican,
Hate
whose
that.
outer two tentacles have
that's his
elongated
entire
into
mouth.
highly effective fish catchers. Yet as predators, the Wellicans pale in comparison to the colossal
by Troll Man.
Leviathans.
You're the guy that
single
does,
largest
like, the
hunters ever
rainbow
to
fish or whatever it's
exist
called.
on Serina. Exceeding 52 feet or 16 meters in length and weighing up to 40 tons, these giants are,
Freaking playing Subnautica,
amazingly,
dude.
yet another descendant of marine slugs. Though the end of this world creeps ever closer, Serina has entered
I
an
hate it.
age of
Stop reminding
giants,
me.
where predator and prey clash like never before.
I mean, that's
In the
kind of
southern
messed
pole,
up, you know. It's
a
like essentially
giant
war, but
dawnwalker tries to
it is the
frighten
circle
off
of
a
life, man,
sleek
and that background is
fangwar.
trippy.
Fangwars are capable hunters.
Pay attention what's in front of
but
me.
This one isn't fully grown yet, and might be in over its head given the size of its quarry. In the Sky
come
Islands,
on.
a far smaller drama unfolds between a painted jackalope
poke
and a
him?
long-toothed goatsucker. Neither species weighs
Okay.
more than 2 kilograms, or 4
Do they suck
pounds,
goats?
but their will to survive is no less fierce than the largest of Serina's animals.
That is true, man.
And
Like,
speaking of,
once they want to
on
survive,
the
they
northern
might do
continent,
drastic
certain
things.
signosaurs
As
are
we've
now
seen.
among the largest animals ever to walk on Serina, but with exceptional prey
different
comes
shades of colors and
exceptional
stuff.
predators. Subjugators are a relatively new guild of megafaunal bipedal tribithers large enough to pose a threat to juvenile signosaurs.
That is trippy, though. It's like the
Skirmishes
bones are
between
sticking
these
out.
two groups are often awe-inspiring. A clash of titans not seen
like
since
Thor
the
and the
Mesozoic
serpent?
of Earth. Relatives of the signosaurs, the regal Scolosi, also seem like something out of the age of dinosaurs.
Yeah,
These
like pretty much
huge
all of these, I
scrocs
get
might
like hints of
appear too
dinosaur,
large
man.
to be under threat of predation, but the late hothouse is a time of
It
monsters.
started with birds,
The
dude.
imperious river
Oh,
dragon
thank you,
is
size
a
comparison.
leviathan large enough to drag Scolosi
Speaking of
into the
Subnautica,
murky
here's another
depths.
Leviathan.
When pondering such a beast, it's easy to think of nature as a constant escalation of violence.
That is very true.
But nature has a
God, he
sunny
worded
side
that
as well.
perfectly.
Elsewhere on the northern continent,
Hey, damn, nature, you
bowerbuck are
scary.
a type of giraffe fowl that work hard to construct colorful towers of vegetation to impress potential mates. This sort of behavior can attract predators as well, but such are the perils of love. Some love stories
Don't risk
are
it.
wholly unique.
Do it in a cave.
Here, a male
Like, hey, I got something to
flutterfox
show
is
you
trying
in
to
this safe
court
spot.
A large female moon beast. These two species aren't closely related, but the flutterfox
like a blue
doesn't
jay.
seem deterred. It's
Okay.
a small reminder that the
Hey,
engine
buddy.
of nature will create sights one might never expect. Wandering spiderweeds are a type of carnivorous plant that have learned
Swamp
to move through
fire.
a cycle of continuous leaf replacement.
Anybody watches Ben
They
10,
aren't
man?
particularly quick, only able to move around 2 meters or
Okay,
6
thank God.
feet per year. But they're
Oh,
an intriguing
thank God.
species that has quietly evolved.
Again,
in
that
the
would be terrifying if
background
it landed
of
on your
Serina.
face.
And on the subject of species that have evolved in the background,
Let's go,
antliers
he's
have now
surviving.
diversified into numerous successful forms.
Oh, I love that.
Bulldozers are large omnivores with antlers powerful enough to stun predators
Oh,
and
yes.
mating rivals.
Do you go up
Other
with it or down with it?
bulldozers
Because
have
either way
evolved
will...
hooked antlers designed for quick slashes. Though none of these antliers
Dude.
have continued to carry the torch of intelligence their woodcrafter cousins once
Aw,
bore,
that's
they are
depressing.
nonetheless capable life forms in their own right.
They used to be so smart. What happened?
Considering Serina's current biodiversity,
Life.
it is difficult to imagine that the
Time.
end is near. The northern
Thank
polar
you,
basin,
again.
for example, has never
Don't
been
forget,
as
the end
rich
is
with
near.
life as it is 290 million years post-establishment. But there are warning signs on the horizon that
Again, I know I said it
cannot be
before, but time
ignored.
flies.
As volcanism continues to decline, Serina's magnetic field weakens, and with it, the atmosphere
bad.
has started to thin,
Yeah.
allowing for increased harmful radiation to reach the planet's
Magnetic field's
surface.
important, okay?
The final chapter has come at last. As a mass extinction looms on the surface, it is time we briefly turn our attention
Is he actually
to
gonna
a
do this?
hidden world
We're gonna rip that
below.
Band-Aid off?
For underneath the exterior of
I'm not
Serina
ready.
is a
Save it
network
for
of
a
chambers
last one,
home
please.
to long-forgotten lineages that have had eons to adapt to the dark.
God, it's something
Very
else,
little
dude.
of the life
Like,
within
God, I
these
love
caverns
it.
is currently known.
Oh,
But
what
as
are
the
you?
surface declines,
barely saw
an
you.
underground
Blended in.
world might
Hi!
rise.
Again with the blended in
Back
thing.
on the surface, a
You
group of
turkey
squab
dinosaur?
goblins and bogglebirds.
I love
watch the
it always
setting
there's the
sun.
silhouettes
A
of those
cold snap
dudes.
has frozen
Like the
marsh
symbol of the
solid,
series
and
now.
though this dip in temperature will not last, it is a sign of more permanent changes to
We've
come.
been through
Will
dips.
Serina's burgeoning intelligent life be able to adapt in time? Jumping forward a brief
Oh.
5 million years beyond
What do you mean
the
a
end of the
brief
Hot House
500
Age,
million?
a
Whatever,
family
I
of
already don't know the number.
flutterfoxes watch a forest fire engulf their environment. Rain no longer
Why?
extinguishes these brush fires as the atmosphere
Thank you for answering my
continues to
question right
weaken.
away.
The end is very close indeed. But here in Serina's twilight hours, Sapience has returned at last. The
You go, Sapience.
blood-breasted squaboon of ages past has given
Nice to
rise
finally
to the Sylvan
come
Spark,
back after the world
a
ends,
highly social
or as the world
species
ends.
that is beginning to craft complex tools. And
Oh.
they're not the only tool-using
Tools
tentacle
is
bird.
important
They share this
intelligence
world
anyway.
with the slaughter sprinters, descendants of
And
squab
everything else, actually.
goblins who have taken to the plains following the collapse of the long dark swamp ecosystem. And their bogglebird allies
Oh,
have
you are
achieved
pretty.
advanced intelligence as well.
I can see it with the
becoming
piercings.
artistically inclined whisperwings. All
Okay.
three species have arisen in close proximity to each other.
Oh, that
and
is
their futures
crazy.
shall be deeply intertwined. But is it too
Oh.
little, too late? With the age of giants coming to a crashing close and global temperatures dropping, it is unclear what hope these new soft
Big boys can't survive. There's not enough
Serena
food.
has always been a story of hope and tragedy, of
That's
joy
very
and
true,
sorrow.
man.
Whatever the future holds,
Could not have
life
said
is
it any better.
always full of surprises.
Life
The
finds a
final
way.
chapter of the End Ultimacine is still to come. But
Oh,
that's all
let's
I can
go.
give away
Okay.
for now.
Okay,
If
that's
you
okay. I
enjoyed
can
the
wait.
series as much
I
as I
love
do,
it. I love it
once
so
again,
much,
there are links
man.
to Dylan Beta's Patreon and the Patreon of guest artist
Definitely,
Fullman in the
like,
description.
do what you can with that
And by
dude,
the way,
because he is.
as always,
It's
thank you for
ultimately his
watching.
stuff, you
If
know?
you enjoyed this video,
Like,
and
Curious
want to
Archives
support
and
the
me are both
channel,
piggybacking off
consider
it.
liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification icon
You know I
to
do.
stay up to date on all things
For the people I
curious.
react to, anyway.
See you in the next video.
Thank you, man. This was good. This was glorious. All right, man. That was everything I'd hoped it'd be. Like, in all honesty, like the continuation. And luckily, this wasn't the actual end of the series, you know, because that's what I'm dreading the most. Which it does seem like it's gonna be the next one that he's gonna do, because we keep pushing it, like narrator, like the videos, literally everything keeps pushing the end, you know, and it keeps dangling it in my face, like the end is coming. Don't forget, the end is here. And like I'm like, okay, I know. Just hurry up and rip the Band-Aid off. But I think the last one's gonna be it. But man, I don't want this to end. Like it's really weird, but like the connection I have with these different species and stuff, and like I don't really remember like which species is connected to what, because it has been quite a long time, but like still seeing the similarities, like the guys that have this thing and then the freaking penguin looking guys, you know, like I do remember some other people, and like the ones that have the antler arm things, like those might be my favorite ones, you know. Like it's just such a really crazy trip, like seeing this, and it all accumulated with like, hey, what happens if we have birds and fish on a planet together, you know, like what would happen if it was just them, and like essentially really crazy things. And like sadly the world is ending in Serina's world, not our world, even though it technically is, but getting ways off topic. But like it's just like the journey, you know, like you're here for the journey, and like it is sad that it's ending, but like I'm happy that I was able to experience, you know. And it's just, it boils down to that, like he was saying at the very end of this, you know, like the Epic of Serina, it's about like trials and like failures, and like it's about everything, like what life ultimately like represents, you know. But like we get to see it in the point of view of birds, like, which is really kick-ass. And like I'm gonna stop babbling now, but like man, this was glorious. I loved everything about it, and well worth the wait, mind you. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Leave a like down below, subscribe, ring the bell, become a member. You get videos a day early, and check out the merch. So with that said, I've been Master Zero. Y'all guys have been fantastic, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Later days.